I need to stop eating. First things first. Well, I can't stop eating because we need food. But what I can do is slow down on my intake. Because, man, I just sat on this chair and immediately went down. I think it wouldn't go back up, you know. Um, Such is life. Food is good. So, have you ever had a day, should I say, a situation? Day and situation don't even go together. I don't know how that works together. But anyway, have you ever had a situation where, as a man, not to make it sound like we're any special from any other species, but I'll speak for myself, like I say on every episode. I've had a situation where, as a man, you are deeply, deeply, deeply in love with someone. And it could be a relationship, it could be a crush, it could be just maybe a fantasy, or somebody who's your friend who you just happen to have hard feelings from. Well, of course, a girl. In my case, you have a hard, tough feelings for them, and you go through this phase. You spend time with them, you hang out with them, you do all these fun activities with them, and over time, it's building up. Those feelings are building up, but you can't really express it to them because your insecurities kick in. First of all, I know most men, or maybe females as well, will get in situations where they are befriended, or they're in a friend zone, like as men like to say. They're in a friend zone situation. But the very truth about that is that they get in this situation through attraction. I strongly believe not every man or every human being is the same, but I strongly believe we all mostly, at least in my situations, when I see an attractive woman, the first thing that we've been trying to do, or how we've been trying to react to situations like that, is by trying to befriend them first. Because that's the best way you can do it. You can just jump into a relationship. Hey, my name is Mel. Boom, we're dating. It doesn't work like that. Gotta sell yourself, like I always say. Gotta sell yourself first. Talk to the woman. She has to figure you out. If she's really feeling you or whatever, or she really has some sort of interest in you, she'll take her time and give you the signs that most women would do. And if you've been in a relationship or been in a situation, you know how to handle situations like that. Oh, not everybody does, but not even me. But you know how it goes. You go on a date. Some might play out to get, some may not even respond to you. You fall hard for it. It's not on purpose. It's just how relationships go. You play that magnet versus magnet game until you get you to a heart with a man, or guy or girl, whoever, whoever gets first in the situation. Then you get to the point where sometimes you just realize, we're just gonna be friends. But God, it's not even about the physical look. It's not even about the way. Of course, it plays a part. It's not even a physical look, as in, it's not the way she looks beautiful, or everything, it all plays a big part. I mean, there's no way around it because attraction, I personally believe attraction is first and physical, then everything else. But just the way those they make you feel when, like I said, as a man, as a guy, we tend to, I think, we were we were raised under the stigma, or we were created under this stigma where we shouldn't show our feelings. Oh, it's no longer that way these days anyway, because men are becoming very emotional, which is good. I mean, they've always been emotional actually. Men are just showing their true colors, and I'm for that. As somebody who's very vocal, as you can see, somebody who's very open, I do support, showing how you feel about situations in the most respectful way, of course, not any with no bad intent or anything like that. But so yeah, you get with this girl, you just figure out, you sing. For example, let's say you're working at a job, and you see this girl, or probably not a good example because I don't want people to be going. People shouldn't be dating in jobs, at least. I mean, at work. That's probably what I've been told before. But you become friends with this girl. You just want to be friends with her. It could be a job, it could be a school. Of course, you're gonna start by doing the nice things, see, the obvious, gestures. Some people might not do the nice things, but you're gonna try to, get your attention to the girl, and eventually, you and the girl become friends, right? Over time, that friendship is building, building, to where she's getting a lot, very well. Both of you are getting comfortable with each other. Where you know the funny thing about, at least about women versus men, sometimes, or I think in most cases, they can men women will really really take women really seek emotional, companionship. They really value their friendship. Not that guys don't value their friendship, but I have befriended a lot of girls, so have many other people, and as somebody who's observant, who looks into stuff deeply and thinks too much into things, researches on it, even the simplest things. I've realized that women really, really, really value their friendship, and especially when they're with friends with a male, they take that friendship serious. Whereas males do the same thing, but sometimes they cannot handle, in most cases at least, they cannot handle that friendship to a point where they remain. They cannot handle that friendship for a long time, where they don't, end up bursting into feelings for that person. It's very common. A lot of men will be friends, and I mean, I think at times they just start off exactly trying to just to be their, the girl's friend, but they become friends with them to a point where they can't resist. And it's funny because you would think this should be happening from the other side of things. You would think the woman is the one who would not be able to handle that, but women can remain friends. They can, and the funny thing is, most women will be your friend, and they'll normalize the situation, and really where it actually starts, in most cases, where it actually goes left, or where things start changing or moving around, is when the woman decides to date somebody while they were the best friends with a guy. Now, if this guy did not take is actually attracted to her, or sometimes not even, they don't even know that they are attracted to them. They just start realizing that, well, they are attracted to them for many, many reasons, a lot of various reasons. Because one, the girl the main thing is the girl might probably start hanging out with the new, with the boyfriend or the guy that they're really dating more than they're doing with the friend, or so, which they should. It's their boyfriend or it's somebody they're dating. But then the guy who's always been friends with you, with the girl, then reality kicks in. Subconsciously, it hits them. Sometimes they don't even know that they're being, it's hitting them, or they're hurt, or it's really affecting them. And this is when all the other emotions start kicking in. The non-welcome emotions or non-friendly emotions, then they start kicking in. You start, especially the biggest one being jealousy. Most people do not understand what jealousy is, including myself, until let me rephrase that. When most people are being in a jealous situation, or they're in a jealous phase, intuition, that jealous cloud, they don't understand that they're in that situation. Just like everything else, like, some people don't know they're addicts while they're in the act of doing whatever they're addicted to. So I think it's the same thing with emotion, with such strong emotions like that. As a human being, you can't really convince yourself that you despise of another situation. You always want to be. I think in most cases you tell yourself you're a better person. You're a better person than you really are, for the most part. Even an evil person probably tells themselves that they're doing good. They have their reasons. So, first things first, they hang out. The girls hang out with the boy, with the new guy. You start getting him with these emotions, and you were the best friend. You're the guy friend. Especially these days, I think a lot of girls, it's just this whole movement where girls have a lot of guys, in the last few years, a decade or so. Back, I think, in my parents' times, they would tell me that guys and girls really never befriended to this extent. They were friends, but not to the point that you as a guy, your best friend, of course, it was possible, but it wasn't in this big explosion that it is these days. And not to say it's bad or good or whatever, just it's an observation. Just like every generation will tell you something has changed within their next few generations or whatever. But so yeah, you befriend this girl, and then she's with a boyfriend now. You starting getting feeling it's some way, but you keep telling yourself, we're still friends. Then they start then when you're around them, now all the comfortability that you were doing earlier with the girl, where you would stay at her house, or we're talking about a mature relationship, right? Mature friendship, I'm sorry, where the girl probably has her own place, has her own thing, you have your own place, you have your own thing. You're adults. So now things are changing. You're going to, you're not invited to her house as much. You probably used to sleep at her house, used to sleep in bed with them as a friend, with next to each other, no funny business. But now, even when you go sleep there, you have to sleep on the couch. Now sometimes, every time you say, hey, what are you doing today? I'm coming to see you, or let me find out what John is doing. So those little things, that the girl is, and like, again, it goes back to saying the loyalty of a girl. Of a girl as a friend, the way she values a friend. She's comfortably treating you this way because she values a friendship. She just says, oh, he's good. He understands. She doesn't even think twice about it. So she's not doing it maliciously. So she's not even trying to avoid you. She's not even trying to hang out with somebody else. She's not trying to hang out with with a guy or just to make you upset or avoiding you. She's just because the guy is also coming from a different place. He might have not even known this girl until they started dating. So he needs this turn. He needs this chance to hang out with the girl. It's his girlfriend. It's his boo. So he has to. And then the funny thing about it is that when this guy ends up depending, the guy might also end up starting to feel a certain way about the friendship that you have. Because as guys, man, we know, we like I said, like this story I'm saying right now, the way I'll think about it, the way I'll take it is gonna be different because I'm like, whoa, he's a guy. I don't expect him to be your friend to that nature. And then out of experience, out of what I see my friends who were befriending girls or who were best friends with girls, how they ended up doing this or doing that, they ended up falling in love, dating each other, cheating on whatever. So you start some guys are stronger than others, but I'm just saying, it might it starts hitting them. So the moral of your story is that you get into your emotions, into your feelings, and you start looking at things. This is the guy I'm talking about. You start looking at things the wrong way. You might start, arguing with the girl. It starts, it might even affect your relationship to the most part. You see that a lot of girls who will start, they start off with the best friend who's a guy, and they end up in relationships, and then it dies down. It could be because of the guy. He's not comfortable to be fair to him. I gotta spend time with him. He's a guy. He has emotions. So it's like the girl has to pick and choose, or she has to pick what side to go through. And it may not even have to be with a girlfriend or boyfriend. It could be just the girl choosing other friends over you, over time. Just life in its generality. Anyway, you meanwhile selfishly, at least in this story, you selfishly decide you don't want to be friends with this girl. But is it selfish, or is it good because you're protecting your feelings as well? Because you don't want to sit there, be miserable, stressed, angry. You're just starting your healing process, which I support. I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, when this happens, you have a feeling, especially when jealousy is involved and stuff, you get hurt and all this stuff. Maybe the girl might have just stopped being friends with you, and then eventually you find a way to make it look like it was her fault or it was their fault. At least I feel like that's probably most of the time. Everybody, not everybody, most people will victimize themselves subconsciously without even knowing it. They'll victimize themselves. Some people might not hold on to it. They'll move on in life. Some people, they'll hold on to it, but they won't talk about it, but they'll just keep them, and they'll stay within them forever. So the reason I'm saying this is because I gave these stories because I saw something online. I don't like to say celebrity names because it's not a celebrity show where we talk rumors and stuff like that. But I saw a very big celebrity who had issues with a girl that they supposedly were dating, and then the girl decided they didn't want to, be with them, and for whatever situation happened over there, they held on to that for a very long time. The pain, the anger. And I feel like the reason I gave is an example about a guy befriending a girl is because it's just one of those situations that most people won't talk about, most people don't even discuss, but most people feel it. Most people go through it. Most guys go through this. Most girls go through this when it's a guy friend. But it's not something fun maybe to talk about or something very popular to discuss that, you go through this feeling, then you go through pain. It could even be a relationship with a guy. If I'm in a relationship with a girl, or a girl's in a relationship with a guy, and it doesn't last. Something happens. They break up. Whatever the situation is, or actually even if somebody cheats, Even if somebody gave you the idea that they liked you, or they wanted to be your girlfriend, or you were in a good position where you thought this would happen, and it doesn't even happen. Anything can happen, but people hold on to that pain for long. And the reason I give the pain for love is, or that's based on the relationship with a woman. It's very deep. It's very deep. Um, Such that, in my honest opinion, like when I started the episode, I talked about how guys have this stigma of being so, hard-headed, strong, don't care, move on. But in most cases, that affects them in their future relationships, just like it would do anybody else. And the way they heal is different. Some guys would just become savage. Some guys would just start going crazy. They don't trust women. They might, trust any girl, and they don't go into this situation and saying, "I don't trust this girl," or "I don't care about this girl." I'm just gonna mess with it. It's already instilled in you, just like anything else that's trauma related. It just gets into you, and you don't see that. So this is where it comes into what the conversation I wanted to talk about today, which is forgiveness. And the funny thing about this is that, like I mentioned, that's why I was saying all these cliches, is you're victimized. This is the situation I'm talking about. It's not everybody. I know I keep dragging myself because it sucks. These days and time, we have to always be politically correct and make sure you explain, because not everybody feels that way. No. Let's just say I'm talking about myself. Forget it. Yes, I'm talking about myself, right? Forgiveness. I see it this way. It's almost like, okay, in my situation, I just thought about it the other day. No malice or anything, but I had to be honest with myself. I said, I feel like I have a grudge with almost every past relationship that I had with a girl. And it's sad enough because even when I felt like I was in the wrong, or when I knew that I was in the wrong, what I did, there's a times, the guy thing to do. Somebody ask, what happened to so and so? So, man, forget her. Say all kind of stuff about her, and then you just despise her for the rest of your, for a long time. You don't even like them or anything like that, and you hold on to it. Even sometimes you don't even know that you're holding on to this pain, and then everybody always asks you about it. You just ridicule them. But even, especially if they actually, let's suppose they did something that really hurt you, something that really meant a lot to you, that affected you, that really made you upset, you just cannot forgive. I've had friends, guy friends actually, that crossed my path to a point that I'd never imagined they would. I mean, deep disrespect, deep disloyalty. Not even to do, it's one thing which is very bad, but it's one thing for your friend to sleep with your girlfriend or whatever the case is behind your back, and you get upset. But I'm talking about stuff that's even way past that. I've had friends that do that. I mean, that did that to me, that you would not even believe. And then I've also had situations when I had girls that, I feel like they betrayed me. But it's life. We have to go through this stuff. And I've had situations where I was the one wrong, when I did some stuff that I can't even see myself in the mirror. Like, did you really do this? And I might have been at one point maybe being proud of it, think, oh, I'm the man. I did this, I did that. Even to my really closest friends. So if you look at these examples that I'm giving, uh, we as human beings harm each other. It's just as simple as that. We human beings have aversions towards each other on a regular basis. We are born into competition from the birth. Whether it's your sibling, whether it's your brother, whether it's your sibling, whether it's your friend, your family, relative, whoever, we are born in a world of competition. And with competition comes a lot of challenges, a lot of, you could say fake love, a lot of commotion, a lot of aggressiveness, because everybody wants to be the best they can. I don't care what anybody says or, may may disagree with me, but in the most cases, everybody wants to be the best they can be. So when we are born in a place of competition, it builds up all this commotion, all these versions, all this, and I feel like that's why you see there's racism, there's countryism, there's all this. Everybody listens listens to different genres. Everybody of music, everybody does a different. Everybody has a different talent. Everybody does a different job. We're not saying they say, okay, I'm gonna be a teacher, you're gonna be this, but somewhere in between there, it's part of a competition. That's why we all sell each other too. That's why when we go to class, you take a test, and somebody passes, somebody fails, which is happening in the competition. When you go to a race track, a run, somebody loses, somebody wins. It's a competition. So all that also applies to real life scenarios. So when that guy I was talking about in the very first part of the episode went into this situation, the friend, and then the boyfriend comes in dating this girl that you've been best friends with, which you've been friends on, and any guy who knows you've been with a girl for so long that you really have some feelings that you share everything with, it's painful. It's very painful. Even a girl, it does it. I'm even when it's a girl. But of course, people only usually look at these situations from a guy's perspective towards how girls would handle situations like this. This happens to guys, and that's why I'm talking about this in a guy's perspective, to make it interesting, to show you that, as human beings, this is what goes on. So that pain makes it hard for you to talk about. To forgive somebody. And forgiveness is very difficult. Very difficult. There's a lot of people I wish I could forgive that I haven't even forgiven yet. That I tell myself I've forgiven, but I haven't forgiven yet. And I have to work on that, because the problem with not forgiving is because it means you're holding on to that pain, and you're just hurting yourself more and more and more over time. You're just hurting yourself. You ever realize, if you feel like there's somebody who's really, or something that's still bothering you so much, you think about it every single day. Something reminds you of it every single day, and you tell yourself, "Oh, you happy?" or whatever the case is with that situation. But in most cases, you're resentful about it. But the moment it starts to fade away, where you don't care about it and stuff, you stop thinking about it, and things start running smooth. You realize later on, oh, I'm even happier now. I'm happy now. I've been holding on to this pain that doesn't have to be. And the thing about forgiveness is that I did this too. I always thought this way too, and sometimes I might, veer towards that idea of, when you forgive somebody, you feel like you should befriend them, you should hang out with them, call them a way back to life. But no, that's not the case. Forgiveness just means moving on. It happened, and you take it out of your heart and you just say, such is life. So when you forgive somebody, you don't even have to call them and say, hey, I forgive you. No. Because this goes back to what I was talking about sometimes you were just angry at yourself. Sometimes they didn't even do anything to you. It's the selfishness that is within you, the jealousness, the misunderstanding of why you, not why them, not you type of feeling. At least talking about the guy in the first picture that I described, that made them not forgive somebody else, But forgiveness is just sitting there, moving on in life, and just clear your mind and say, it happened. Even in the Bible, one of the most commonly discussed topic is, or word is, forgiveness. Because it's such a hard thing to do, but it opens up so much peace in your mind. Let's see how Google even says, but Google says about forgiveness here. Okay. What is the true meaning of forgiveness? Oh, this even went scientifically, to the scientific side of things. Psychologists generally define forgiveness as conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment, vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Now, this is a great definition or a great meaning for somebody who's really been harmed. So, if you've been harmed, then you get to that place where you settle yourself and make that decision to release all feelings of resentment. And it's very difficult to get to that. It's just, you just gotta acknowledge your emotions about the harm done to you. Like I said, just know that things happen. Let them not affect your behavior, and then work on releasing them. And the biggest thing about that is just to move away from the role of being a victim. And the thing about it too, especially if we talk about like the situation I explained, even acting that way will hurt you in the long run. Because the thing we might do as men or guys, when this happens, or actually everybody, when this happens, immediately, when you're hurt by somebody, immediately, what you want to do is do unto them as they did to you. You want to hurt them as well. Even more, especially when it's revenge. You want to revenge so bad that you want them to feel the pain that they put into you, the pain that they made you feel, such that you end up even hurting yourself more, and in most cases you end up messing it up for yourself unknowingly, to a point that you actually lose everything that you don't have, that you thought that might actually have happened to you, even with that person. It's been ever been a situation where you get yourself to a situation where you forgive and forget, and even down the road you start talking to the girl or the person who they supposedly hurt you, and they'll even give you an example like, I was honestly gonna do this and that, and until you did that, and you're sitting there like, damn, damn, I thought I was doing good by trying to hurt them, but no, I was just destroying myself. Gotta have the you gotta have the release and control and power to let that offending person go, so you can have control of your own life. You got to learn to forgive. And the other problem is that if you don't learn how to forgive or let go, especially the reason why I made an example and I used relationship, friendship situation is because these are things that you will keep evolving and uh, growing into in life. These are things that will keep coming to you. But then now, if you keep holding on to these emotions or this negative energy, you will apply it to every one of your relationships further. All the future situations you get into, you will gonna apply the same exact thing. It's gonna be worse. My mom gives an example of how I was raised. My mom had me when she was very. My parents had me when they were very young. To which they were not really ready to have a child. And this at the time, this was in Africa. The means and the ways just to take care of a child at 14, 15 was not the best. And then you get heckled by your mom, their parents. Anybody and people look at you different, and they oh my gosh, you have kids. And it's just tough for a parent at that age, or it was at least at that time. It's a situation that they had to go through. And then she always gives me an example that because of this, I used to always live with relatives. When she had to go to school, I had to go to my grandma. When she had to go this, I had to go. When she had to go to boarding school, I had to go to my aunt. When she had to come to the United States, I had to, because she couldn't really. She had a life ahead of her, so she had to make sure she takes care of the things that she has to do in life. Not that she didn't care about me or she didn't love me, or she had to give other people to take care of me, but that actually helped her. That's the only way. Of course, she probably wanted to just quit school. She wanted to do all this stuff and be with me and just take care of a baby. But the elders were honest with her that you have to continue with life and you have to find ways to move on and be strong, and you will get time to be with your kid down the road, but you take care of the education, work, whatever. So anyway, my mom always tells me that because I used to be passed around, or I used to live with all these relatives, it detached me emotionally from the whole mom thing to a point that there's a time when I would not claim it to be my mom out of ignorance, because I was young. There were gaps that it's like when you take care of a dog. Let's say your friend gives you a dog and you take care of them so long, the dog feels like not to compare myself to a puppy, but the dog will start treating you as if you were their own, because they see so much and then they just develop, especially at a young age for a kid, because the brains are still developing. Right now, of course, I would know, okay, that's my mom. I'm old, but so she always gives that example that trauma. Back to forgiveness, I sidetrack a lot, but she always gives an idea that trauma stayed with me for so long, and it affected me in all my relationship, whether we especially be even with her, my dad, whoever, even friendship. I come and go. I'm used to coming and going. I'm used to people coming and going out of my life. So that and when she used to tell me that, I just say, oh, okay, mom, maybe go with that story. I'm just a different dude. I don't like. But honestly, it did have a big part on it because I it stays in you. So by this example, I'm saying that because she was leaving and stuff, I developed that, being myself. That's such that it was so hard for me to even be with, relationship. I was just trying to force things. Even friendship, just being so cool with somebody I would love hard and then even get tired. Then I'll get tired. But that emotion or that situation is equivalent to how you would be if you do not forgive, if you do not move on, because it's gonna affect you in every step you take, and you might not even know it. You would, in most cases, you don't even know it. You just feel like you start believing maybe you might have this resentment towards women, or this resentment towards guys, or you just start feeling like, okay, everybody's wasting your time, and everybody starts looking at you like you're this main person, or like all those different things, negative things you don't want to be part of. So that's why we need to learn to move on and forgive. And um, for me, I'm working on that aspect of my life as well. I'm trying to acknowledge all my emotions and not sit there and feel like anybody harmed me. We all don't want to act like we're victims, but come on, we all victimize ourselves one way or the other in certain things. And like I said, accept, accept, accept. I cannot change the past. I just have to repair myself, learn, 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 and then eventually I'll forgive. And with that, I'll wrap it up, with the usual saying, it is always better to accept reality when external misfortune, as life is always unpredictable and the results are not always in our hands. Such is life.